Well, I didn't plan it this way. I staged these bales here a couple days ago and just to unroll them down the slope. But this is one way, and they do this a lot up on the northern prairie, where they'll set bales out, ahead of time in the fall and just separate the bales from polywire, or with using this polywire. I did have a they reached under the wire farther than I thought they would, and you can see here a little bit of an accident where they reached under and the post came out of the bale that was holding the polywire. You can see, so I use these fiberglass sucker rod posts, non-conductive, and what I would typically do is have bales staged like this. They'd be spaced out a lot farther than this, and in rows, like maybe 100 feet apart. And I would use a combination of letting them eat underneath the wire. Once a bale gets chewed up like this, I might cut it with an axe and unroll it along the wire. So there's ways you can do this. You don't want to drive out there every day. Is set the bales out way ahead of time and do it that way. And once in a while they knock the wire down like this, and use a good quality poly wire. This is a Gallagher turbo wire. If you use a cheap poly wire, it literally just frays apart and you'll think that deer are running through it or something, And then here I've just got it. You can even have it where you just have it connected with a gate handle or something, so you can undo it with this gate handle. Like some wind whipping through the trees, about 19 degrees, but we're gonna have a warm up. So, feeding them out on this reclaimed slope that didn't really seed real well last year is gonna be coming to an end. This ground here needed some help. I'm hoping the indentations caused by the hoof traffic will help slow some of this sheet erosion that has been making it difficult to get this slope seeded. One quick thing I'll add, when you teach them to bale graze under the wire, look at how much better they clean the hay up. So you do hear some people saying, because you do this wrong, you can get a lot of waste. If it works out really good when you're unrolling hay out on the pasture, but if you give them too much and you got muddy conditions under there, they lay on that row of hay, and you don't forget, you get far more waste than if you're feeding with a round bale feeder. But some people say, oh, it does so good for the hay, for the field, you're adding all those nutrients, so if you just unroll the hay and let them waste it, they put it right back into the pasture. What kind of BS that is? I mean, who can afford to buy hay just to go fertilize your pasture? Keep in mind, I read somewhere where 80% of the nutrients from the cow that you feed them are thrown back out, are excreted. So you're still treating this pasture as a nutrient sink anytime you're bringing in hay off-site and adding to the pasture. You certainly don't have to practice unrolling a bunch of hay and say, that's okay if they waste half of it, it's getting pounded in the ground. Nobody in this economic climate should be doing that and think you're going to make any money back, your return on investment in cattle, because we all know how bad the cattle market is right now. But I just thought, this might make doing this that ended up accidentally being like this. I'm thinking I should go back to feeding hay this way, because that's how I did it years ago. But every different farm I get, the practicality of feeding different ways changes.